What's going on, sir?
So this is a unique thing. We have 2 days in a row of this.
Kind of like it.
Before we came on, I was thinking, a lot about death recently, and I kind of want to go peacefully in my sleep like my grandfather did, but not like how the other people in the car were. Oh God, he did it! He fucking did it! Oh
What
shit,
the
I'm
fuck?
fat on here.
What is that? Why are you walking around?
I have a big room back here. You ready to go? Let's get this shit started.
Hit it.
What's up, everybody? This is Ed.
Zach.
And this is Two Wannabe Athletes Talk Sports. We are back again for episode 4, even though we only have
2 days
3
in a row.
posted. Hell yeah, we're on a fucking streak. Let's go,
It's almost a habit.
bro. And this is a habit I don't want to break.
No, I fucking love this.
Bro, I texted you last night. I told you today is the start of the season, and you were like, what the fuck? Franchise tag day is here. Franchise fucking tag day is here. I'm so fucking excited.
As soon as you said, hey, the new season starts tomorrow, I've been hard ever since.
Bro, and a lot of people don't really understand the franchise tag. They just hear the title of it and they're just like, okay, whatever that means. I used to be that same way. And, I dabble a little bit more into the internet and start reading what it is. I cannot believe the amount of fucking money that some of these players are getting just for a 1-year deal. You look at.
Well, you saw what Kirk Cousins did. Kirk Cousins basically made almost $70 million getting 2 franchise tags.
And the crazy thing is,
worth that?
Well, not now, no. What's crazy though is, like, let's take somebody like Dak Prescott, right? Dak Prescott is eligible for his second franchise tag, right? They have to pay him 120% of his last year's salary.
Holy shit! I didn't know that was the rule.
Yes, that is putting him, I think, just under $38 million.
Didn't they offer him a contract that was $40 million a year?
There's rumors about what the contracts were. I don't know if I really saw anything that came out and said this was a definite thing, but I saw prices from anywhere from 30 million to 33 million a year, 40 million a year. These were numbers that I was just like, how is his team not just chomping at the bit at this and taking it? But for some unknown reason, Dak Prescott and his team think that he should be the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. No, not in my opinion. What do you think?
I'm with you. Obviously, the eye test, he's not better than a Patrick Mahomes. He's not better than Aaron Rodgers. I'm with you. He's not better than Russell Wilson. I can name a bunch of names. That's not the point. But you can't deny that when he was healthy, before his leg decided to fucking detach and turn around, he was one of the premier quarterbacks in the league. And it's not necessarily, hey, this guy's better than this guy, or this guy's better than this guy. This is just his time to get paid. And every time somebody gets paid, they always think that they have to have the best contract, or they have to set the record. And so, I don't think that he's going to get 10 years, $450 fucking million. I don't think that's happening.
Right.
But why, if you had an open wallet, right? I don't think the Dallas Cowboys do, but if you had an open wallet and you had the ability to sign a guy who's played as well as Dak Prescott has the last couple of years, and you can get him for $38 or $40 million a year, you have to sign that guy.
Of course.
Especially when you watch what your team did with Andy Dalton as a quarterback.
True.
He sucked. They were terrible. Ezekiel Elliott was a shell of himself. There were other issues on that offensive line, and we know that, but you got to sign him. You got to.
Well, I'm very surprised that Jerry he didn't do this last year. Like, I don't understand why he's teasing Dak Prescott and the Cowboy fans. Like, what do you have to gain off of this? Now, the bigger problem is that, like you said, he's coming off of a hellacious injury, right?
Yeah.
That comes into factor. I think because of that injury, we don't know what type of Dak Prescott we're coming into. It was a major ankle injury. We don't know how mobile he's going to be. And so now, are you going to go ahead and take a risk and put $40 million a year on a quarterback that may not even last 2 years?
I mean, yeah, I think you have to take that risk. I mean, we've seen now with the way that contracts are structured is that, basically all the guaranteed money is up front. They don't really make any money on the back end. I mean, I feel like I'm taking that chance. I've seen enough from Dak Prescott to know that it's not a flash in the pan.
Right.
It's not a fluke. Like, he knows what he's doing. He's grown in the offense. He's grown up in the NFL. He's put in the work, and pay the man.
At what point does Dak Prescott come down to the rest of our level and say, okay, maybe I'm not worth that? Is there any point to where that comes up in his head, or is it, I'm the fucking man, I need this fucking paycheck, pay that man his money?
Yeah. I mean, I would love to say that, he's walking around, big dick Dak, but he's not that type of guy.
Right.
I fully believe that to be on this level, there is somewhat of a, I'm the big badass dude, you need to come to me and you need to pay me, because otherwise you just don't survive in the NFL.
Right.
But that said, I do think that he's smart enough to realize that there are other quarterbacks that are better than him. But I mean, you can't fault the man for wanting to bet on himself. Right? We've seen other quarterbacks do it. The most obvious one to me was Joe Flacco. Right? He had the opportunity to sign a multi-year contract, but it was well under what he thought he was worth. So what did he do? He went out and he won the fucking Super Bowl.
Yeah.
They signed him to $100 million contract before those were just given out like candy. And I mean, he wasn't worth what they paid him, but he earned it. And Dak basically did the same thing the last 2 years of his contract. He balled out in 2019. Mm-hmm. And since 2019, he averages almost 20 more passing yards than the next quarterback in the NFL. I mean, he's fucking earned it. Yeah, he broke his ankle. That's an unfortunate circumstance. And yeah, like you said, I mean, are they going to pay money for a guy that maybe they get for 2 years? I think they're going to put him through the ringer as far as, medical evaluations and all that kind of stuff. They're not going to put themselves in a bad spot. But I think if he can stand upright and he's, 75% as mobile as he was, sign that dude. Pay that dude his money.
So Dak Prescott went down in what, week 5, I believe it was?
Yeah, 4 or 5. I think that's right.
So he had very limited time under McCarthy's rule, I guess, if you want to call it that, right? We didn't have a preseason last year. We didn't have any preseason games. So, I mean, pretty much week 1, we suit up, we go, right? Outside of Zoom calls and whatever else the hell they did.
Yeah, dress rehearsals and practices in shorts. Yeah.
Right. So, with that being said, how do you think the two of them, do you think they're going to keep clicking like that? Is McCarthy a problem?
I mean, I think that remains to be seen. Like you said, we've got a small sample size. But I think if you're a Dallas Cowboy fan or you're the Dallas Cowboys front office, you liked what you saw.
Right.
You want more of that. I think the issues that have plagued this team, even way back into the Tony Romo era, is defense.
Yep.
It seemed like they kind of had it figured out when Sean Lee was a big member of their defense, but he got hurt all the time. And as soon as that guy was hurt, their defense turned back into a fucking wet paper bag that everybody was just tearing through.
You're not
kidding. It was unbelievable. That. So I think if you can sign him, you have to go out and you have to revamp the defense as well. He can't score 40 points a game and have the defense give up 41. It just doesn't work like that. We saw it in Seattle. That's exactly what's happening in Seattle. They are wasting a couple of years of, God mode of Russell Wilson the same way by not retooling the defense and staying competitive.
Right. So, final evaluation. Does he get tagged or does he get a contract?
No, I think he gets a contract.
I hope so. Like, if Jerry's smart, that's the best thing he can do, right? Like, It's just scary though. I go back to my assumption. Like, if Jerry passes up this opportunity, we know where he's going. We know he's
Oh,
going to New England. They have
yeah.
no quarterback. They have no
They
quarterback.
don't have a quarterback. That
And
is
there have
correct.
been reports to where Belichick and the Patriots have been talking to every team about quarterback.
They
Every
have
fucking team.
any quarterback that it pops up in the news media that might be available. They're making a phone call.
Bro,
Um,
like that's some eerie stuff. Now, I think we talked about it in the past as far as it, the Patriots aren't really known for trading up draft picks. Um,
yeah, they've never done that. They are trading back.
do you think they would be willing just to trade their first round draft picks for somebody like Dak if he gets tagged? Because if he gets tagged, he can still get traded, right?
Yeah, I mean, usually what happens is you get tagged, um, and I guess that gives you a little bit more negotiating time to try to sign a long-term deal. I don't know the deadline on that. It might be like June 1st or something, but um, it gives you more time to negotiate a long-term deal. And I think the Cowboys know what they have in Dak Prescott. They're going to sign him to a long-term deal. This scary idea of giving Bill Belichick a quarterback who would be like the epitome, like he would be Tom Brady light. Like I'm not saying he's as talented as him. Obviously, nobody's saying that. Well, I'm not saying that, but Tom Brady's Tom Brady. And
Say it.
no, I won't. I refuse. But Dak is one of those guys that he just gets it. He goes to work. He shuts up. And Bill Belichick would love to have a guy like that in his stable over there. But me as an NFL fan and me as just a all around, Patriots like Yankees type hater, I just don't want to see it.
So I'm looking forward to that. The franchise tag ends March 9th, I believe.
Uh-huh.
So Dallas has got a little bit of time. Normally, if you tag somebody on day one, that doesn't look good. So I know today's the first day. We're all excited and stuff like that. I don't think we're going to see any big major names get signed today. Contract negotiations are going on amongst all the free agents. So, of course, the world will be watching to see what goes on with Dak Prescott. With that being said, are there any other free agents that you're possibly seeing get hit with the franchise tag?
I mean, I'm I'm thinking that they're going to end up. I don't know. If I'm Tampa Bay, I don't think I'm wasting the franchise tag on Chris Godwin.
Ooh,
Um, I'm gonna go with Shaq Barrett, and I'm gonna do that with Shaq Barrett in hopes that I can sign him long term. Um, Certain teams you see that when they get a like an edge pass rusher like him who can just basically take over a game. It really helps when you're developed in other places, and then that guy you can just tell him pin your ears back, go get the quarterback. I mean, so I feel like that team is pretty well stacked with a bunch of veterans.
okay.
So I don't see the need for Chris Godwin. Um, I mean, I like him. I would love him on my team. I would sign him tomorrow, right? Like I love the guy. But when you have Mike Evans and you can, bring in Antonio Brown, I guess, if you wanted to for another year because he's a free agent also.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he already won a Super Bowl with you. He might give you a discount. I don't know. He's still kind of a diva to me. So,
I,
um,
I think with Antonio Brown, I think he's going to be that guy who does a lot of 1 year contracts here and there. He may get a 2 year contract from somebody like Tennessee or fuck, I don't even know, Seattle or some shit like that. But I don't see him getting like a big contract anymore. He's on the downslope of his career. So
I mean, he burnt too many bridges.
right,
I feel like that now that opinion is out there of him, long-term contracts are just not. They're not a thing. I mean, unless it's like the Patriots or the Seahawks, like teams that could absorb him in the locker room, and you already have veteran leadership that's not going to put up with his garbage.
right. I am going to have to go on the opposite side of you. I think they signed Chris Godwin to a long deal term. I mean, he's 24. He's fucking young. He's a stud. He's a great inside wide receiver
I
who
mean, he
can,
might be the best slot receiver in the league right now.
and he knows how to play the role on the outside when it comes time for it, right?
Yeah,
I
he's
think
big enough, he's strong enough, he's fast enough to play all those different positions. Yeah, I'm with you.
I think he's a bigger asset at this point than Shaq Barrett is. I mean, Shaq Barrett's 28. On linebackers, outside linebackers, I mean, what's the normal lifespan of them? I mean, upwards
I
to
don't know.
33 years old.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it's as close to running backs as we would think. As soon as somebody turns 30 as a running back, they're basically, just marching towards the death. But
Right.
um, I don't know. I mean, he it seems like he's been healthy most of his career.
Mm-hmm.
He looked damn good all season, especially in the playoffs. I mean, I think you're right. I think that makes sense. If you can sign Chris Godwin to a long-term, like a 4-year deal, then if that's the case, if I can work out a deal with Chris Godwin, then I would for sure franchise tag Shaq Barrett.
Absolutely.
That way, at least I know I have him under control. And, you can roll the dice with Tom Brady trying to beat Uncle or Father Time one more time at 44.
Dude, I'm telling you, he's going to kick his ass.
Like we said, we think he's fucking bionic. Either that, or if you can just pick through the Victoria's Secret model like catalog, and instead of picking out like bras and panties, you can pick out models. Maybe that's the key to the fountain of youth there.
I don't know, man. Whatever Tom's doing, he needs to share it to the world and make him even more money. But I guess
Fuck
he doesn't.
that. If I'm Tom Brady, I'm not sharing that shit till I retire.
Well,
and he might not retire till he's 60.
And that's the thing, right? He probably never will.
No. I mean, especially now that they've changed the rules where you're not getting beaten banged on like, Troy Aikman was, then what does it matter?
But what's crazy, though, is you look at Tom Brady and then you look at Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers looks like he spent a couple of nights in a fucking crack house. Like, that dude looks beat up. But Tom Brady looks like he's fresh out of college at some points.
I mean, like, honestly, if you saw those two next to each other,
I would think Aaron Rodgers is Tom Brady's grandfather.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but I mean, I would think that Aaron Rodgers is the older guy, and I'm pretty sure Tom Brady is almost 10 years older than that guy.
Maybe it's maybe it's Green Bay. I don't know. But then again, Tom
he
was
played
in
in New
Boston
England
for all the time.
Yeah,
but I mean, you even look
there.
at Drew Brees. Drew Brees looks fucking young as hell too.
Have you seen Drew Brees lately?
Not recently. Does he still have the scar?
I'm not talking about that. But so now that we've somehow transitioned into Drew Brees, you think he's retiring?
Nope.
I don't think he has to. Have you seen the cap numbers since they lowered the cap from 200 million to like I think it's 181 now?
Yes.
The Saints are like $66 million over the cap.
Are they really?
Yes.
Hot damn.
Right. That's what I'm talking about. And I don't know how much money they even get if Drew Brees retires. Well, it says right here that if he wow.
What happened?
So I'm just reading the story. And it says Joel Corey, CBS contributor, he says the biggest and quickest path to cap relief for the Saints is quarterback Drew Brees officially retiring, which can clear nearly $24 million from the cap. That's insane. So, and they're saying that basically they are going to look to restructure Michael Thomas, which makes sense. I mean, once you pay a wide receiver, yeah, he performed and yeah, he did good, but now you're $65 million over the cap. You've got to make a couple of moves to even keep part of that team together. So he has to be restructured, and then they're saying that they're probably going to cut Cameron Jordan.
Ooh.
Which is very intriguing
because
he's a very good interior lineman. I like Cameron Jordan. It says that basically Quan Alexander, linebacker, will be cut. Malcolm Brown looks to be cut. and Patrick Robinson. So there'll be a couple cornerbacks that are out there. I don't know how good Malcolm Brown still is, but
Bro, what are they doing to the Saints?
Well, I mean,
What's
they
really
went
going
all
on?
in. They went all in to try to win a Super Bowl, and it didn't work. And this is the downside of it, is that now you're screwed. And we talk about trying to go after a Super Bowl and loading up on talent. The number 3 team that's over the draft or over the cap is the Los Angeles Rams. They've actually lost a lot of the players that they tried to go after for their first Super Bowl run. When they signed Ndamukong Suh and those kind of guys. But now that they've gotten rid of Jared Goff, Todd Gurley's gone the last couple of years, they're looking at restructuring Aaron Donald, Cooper Kupp, and Robert Woods to try to free up some cap space, because they're $25 million over the cap. Not near as bad as the Saints. So they probably don't have to cut as many people. But, dude, some of these teams are crippled because of the cap. Because really, the cap went from 200 million to 181 million or 180 million. So that's 20 million that it went down. The Rams are over the cap by $25 million. So this restructuring of the cap because of COVID, thanks a lot, Rona. It's really crippling some of these teams that have been pretty good.
So let's see. Yeah, you've got the Saints sitting at number 32 with the worst cap.
Yeah.
Eagles right behind them. Then the Rams. Kansas City is right there too. But I mean,
Kansas City's the 18 million over the cap.
Yeah, but it's not $65 million. Jesus.
Right. I mean,
who the fuck is crunching their numbers over there?
Yeah, that guy got fired. Like,
that dude got fucking
batteries
stoned.
in his calculator. Like, what the fuck is going on over there? He's doing adding shit with an abacus and shit.
I was just gonna say that shit, dude.
Yeah, get that dude a new slide ruler. That motherfucker doesn't know how to use it. But when you read about the Chiefs, it talks about they can instantly get under the cap by cutting Tyrann Mathieu or Tyreek Hill. I don't think they're cutting Tyreek Hill, but Tyrann Mathieu I can see getting rid of. But he's kind of the heart and soul of that defense.
Yep. He brought a lot of life to that defense, what he got over there. And, he's done that on a lot of teams that he's with. Hell, the fucking 1 year he's with the team we're not going to mention right now, he was a stand-up leader over there and actually sparked up that defense.
Yeah, but do you remember what he did in the Super Bowl when he basically poked the bear in the balls? Remember that?
Bro, so I meant to mention this on that episode. Fucking Tom Brady lives in that motherfucker's head right now. That dude is living there rent-free, still fucking with this man today.
Oh, yeah, for sure. He owns him. Like, you remember back in the day when they used to edit Wikipedia pages? It totally says on Tyrann Mathieu's Wikipedia page, Tom Brady is his daddy.
I think Tom Brady even opened up like a Airbnb in there just so he can make a little bit of extra money.
That's pretty good.
Bro,
I can't believe like the ball. I mean, let's be honest. The balls of Tyrann Mathieu to go straight to Tom Brady and rile that motherfucker up.
Oh, no. Tom Brady went out of his way to run over there and get in his face.
No, so there's a couple instances that happened. So I guess there was a second down that Tom Brady threw a pass like into the ground. The pass rush, I guess, got to him. And Tyrann Mathieu was blitzing from like the weak side. And when the pass hit the ground, you can see Tyrann Mathieu just like chopping, like talking all kinds of shit to Tom Brady. And I don't know, I didn't see the reaction from Tom Brady in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
It was, I'm sure it was like, all right, motherfucker, that's what you want to do. I mean, let's go. And then the next play, it seemed like there was a pass interference penalty. Then they got a touchdown. And Tom Brady went and found that dude from like 18 yards away, right? Full on sprint. So, for Tom Brady, 18 yards was probably about 4.5 minutes. But he found him, got in his face, and yelled at that dude and was like, how you like them apples? I hate Tom Brady like as a player, but that's fucking gold when you watch guys do shit like that.
I can't wait till next year. I hope on week one, like we've seen multiple times where they do Super Bowl repeats. I hope we get to see Kansas City and Tampa Bay again. I want to see Tom Brady and Honey Badger talking shit to each other, and like that.
Well, that's if Honey Badger's still there.
That is true, and hopefully he will be a bigger man and be like, "Yo, I'll take fucking base salary just to stay. Let's do this."
Just to play Tom Brady, just to get beat by the GOAT again. Oh
well,
shit! I didn't mean to say that, but you know what I mean.
Well, it was said. It's been documented, recorded. Everybody now knows that Zach said that Tom Brady is the GOAT.
I hate you.
Well,
I hate all of that.
Well, it happened, and see your death. I want to move into the next thing. I've been trying to beef up my knowledge on O-line. Dude, I don't know about you, or I'm just fucking retarded. I cannot find like individual stat records to save my life. I can find team stats as far as O-line and rankings and stuff like that, but like I want to get more familiar with right guards, right tackles, left tackles, all that shit, just to get a better understanding as far as who the fuck is protecting these people that we constantly talk about, right? The unsung heroes of the fucking gridiron, the fucking offensive linemen.
Yeah, I mean, they're like you said, they're the unsung heroes. They don't play the sexy position.
They don't.
You know, they don't have the six packs and they don't have the huge catches and all the big runs, but
and you don't really see
if one of those guys fucks up though, your whole franchise is done.
Absolutely. And I mean, we talked yesterday about with the Philadelphia Eagles having 14 changes on their O-line. You look at Kansas City as far as what happened in the Super Bowl. They lost their two starting tackles, for left and right, for COVID and injury. Like, and it showed. Then you also
same thing with Cincinnati, R.I.P. Joe Burrow.
Bro, and you brought me right into it. Joe Burrow, if they want to save that man, they have to get O-line. They have to beef up this O-line.
I think that's fairly obvious. I'm pretty sure that's who they're targeting in draft. I mean, they have pretty good weapons. I really like the running back. I think that I think Joe Mixon, coming out of college with the the punching incident that we won't talk about anymore, it probably hurt his draft stock, but that doesn't take away from the talent. I mean, he's one of the top 5, maybe top 8 running backs in the league. Maybe top 8 is too much. Maybe he is top 6 running back in the league. I like the pieces they have. I mean, I think AJ Green is gone.
Yeah, he's out.
I think he's just too old. They need a tight end. I mean, I like Sample. He looked okay. He's a serviceable guy. But I mean, I think with Higgins and Tyler Boyd, that's a pretty good combination, especially when somebody as accurate as Joe Burrow is throwing the ball.
It's a good start, right?
Oh, for sure. This is exactly how you need to build a franchise. They've got the pieces. Take a chapter out of the Dallas Cowboy playbook. Go get you an offensive line. After that, you're bulletproof.
So Cincinnati's sitting at number 5 in the draft in the first round. Do you see them going with an O-line? Do you see them going defense?
They have to go offensive line with the number 5 pick. It's not sexy to go offensive line number 5, but to me, Sewell from Oregon, he's the guy. Okay. You take him number 5 no matter what. I mean, I don't say no matter what. I mean, if somebody comes up and they say they want to trade for Justin Fields or Zach Wilson or one of these quarterbacks, fuck yeah, move back. That doesn't bother me. Because like I said, in the first round, it seems like most GMs don't really want to go offensive line because it's not, like I said, it's not sexy. It's not, the fans usually don't know who the offensive line is. Like we were just talking about, we're looking for stats for offensive line. It's really hard to find them because nobody cares other than, people that are really deeply involved, like GMs, not us, but.
But I guess I look at it as far as not only for what we're doing here on the podcast, but also when it comes to fantasy. Like, I feel like that is something that you need to know. If you're somebody who is really serious about your fantasy league and you want to win, Why not know what the O-line is doing as far as protection, right? How many times on the left side are they getting rushed? How many times is the quarterback getting pressure from the right side? To me, those are important things. And I may just be overanalyzing and overthinking stuff on this, but to me, that's important stuff, especially if you want to know where your team sits, because the O-line, to me, is the foundation of what makes that team. You can have a great quarterback, but if you don't have a fucking O-line, your great quarterback's getting his dick beat in the dirt.
Right. Yeah. If your great quarterback is spending his entire life on his back, I mean,
Giggity.
you're not going to win any games. But yeah, I think Sewell from Oregon, he's the guy you go with at number 5. If you can trade back, then trade back, but as long as you can still get your guy, that's the goal.
So one of the tackles that I've been looking at is coming out of University of Texas, Samuel Cosme. I think
I have him ranked as the number 3 tackle in the draft.
Just some of the stuff that I'm reading on him, and I haven't gone to his tape yet, but I mean, 6'7", 309 pounds is a fucking beast. Like this, if he's got some quickness on him, you can keep him at the left tackle. If he's got the pull on him, you can keep him at right tackle. Get that pull going across. I want to look out for him. I think he's going to be somebody that is highly needed for a lot of teams, and Cincinnati is definitely one of those teams that needs somebody to protect Joe Burrow.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm not sure if he would be the guy I would target. Like I said, I think Sewell's the guy.
Okay.
But if there is a run, well, I mean, they're drafting 8 or they're drafting 5th. So unless they trade back, I think they're going to get Sewell, and then we'll see. Cosme, is that how you say his name? Cosme, some shit like that.
Yeah,
I think you'll see him go late first round to a contender. That's what I'm thinking is going to happen.
Yeah, CBS has him going with the 32nd pick.
Yeah, I mean that makes 100% sense. I mean, really, you could go 31 to the Chiefs.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw how their tackles fared. Not very good. And, some of these guys, I think all the way down to the Christian Darrisaw guy from Virginia Tech, I have him ranked number 6 as a tackle. I think all the way down to those guys, I think they're all, plug and play guys. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they might be. Some of them might be right tackles, which I'm fine with that. I don't care. I mean,
you got to fill the hole every way, right?
Yeah,
giggity.
I guess. I mean, but like I said, I think there's enough flashy players that the offensive linemen are going to get kind of shuffled down further than they probably should based on talent level, because just for the fact that, GMs are going to want to make a splash that the fans can get behind. And I think we're going to see a lot of people reach for a quarterback. We see it every year, but I think this year we're going to see people reach even further, only because I just don't think that this quarterback class is as hyped.
I don't think this entire class is worth a damn. I think this is almost comparable to, what was the last garbage draft class? 2015, maybe?
I don't know. I haven't researched it back in the history, but I mean, it's definitely not as good as Deshaun Watson's draft. 2017
draft and the 2018 draft, in my opinion, were probably two of the best drafts that we've had in a while. 2019 was decent with Kyler Murray coming out of there and Josh Jacobs, DK Metcalf. Some of those, those were small ones, but the 2017 draft quarterback class was insane.
I think you're hitting on something pretty good there. That, we retweeted the stat that from 2009 to 2016, any quarterback drafted in the first round, they're not with their original franchise.
Nope.
So maybe that just tells you how shitty the quarterbacks have actually been.
And everybody's putting this hype into Trevor Lawrence.
I'm not sold.
I'm not either. I'm really not. And it's hard to get behind that kid. He did great things in Clemson. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, is he an NFL capable quarterback? And even the kid from North Dakota State that they're talking about,
Trey Lance.
Trey Lance, like
Yeah, I'm
this
not
kid's.
sold on him either.
I watched some of his tape yesterday, and I mean, don't get me wrong, the kid can move, but he just looks awkward as fuck when he runs.
Yeah, and I mean, there is the stigma of any quarterback that's over 6'6" basically just doesn't succeed in the league.
Right.
So I think he's 6'7". So there is that.
And to go back to what I was saying with the NFL draft, it was actually the 2014 draft that was kind of a bummer. I mean, your biggest names out of there was Clowney, Khalil Mack, Mike Evans,
Those sound
Odell.
like some damn good players. No quarterbacks though. You haven't mentioned any quarterbacks yet.
Blake Bortles went number 3.
Wow.
Yeah. And you keep going down the list, you don't see another quarterback until Minnesota at 32, and they get Teddy Bridgewater. And then Derek.
That turned out to be a good pick, I think. I mean, I don't want to say that he's a bust. I mean, he's a first-round bust. I mean,
Bro,
there's no way around that. But it was because of a freak knee injury. Like, who knows what would have happened had he stayed healthy?
Right, because if I remember correctly, he was actually looking pretty damn good.
Well, yeah, and I mean, he's still in the league. Blake Bortles, I don't know if he's in the. I know he signed a couple contracts because
I want to say he's a backup at like San Francisco, or I think he's somewhere on the West Coast as a backup.
You might be right, but the point is that he's not making a splash. He definitely didn't start for any team last year, so you know.
2013 draft looks like a complete bust too. I mean, Eric Fisher right out the gate was the stud I'm only seeing so far. Notable names: Tavon Austin going to the Rams.
He was a flash in the pan.
First quarterback taken in that draft was EJ Manuel to the Bills.
Gross.
Yeah. The next one was Geno motherfucking Smith to the Jets.
Gross.
Remember the story when he got busted in the jaw in the fucking locker room? That shit was hilarious.
That's what happens when you start running your mouth to some dude that's 330 pounds and you don't go to school anymore. He can just jack your ass.
With the 73rd pick, Tampa Bay Buccaneers selected Mike Glennon in that draft. That was the third quarterback taken in that draft.
He's the best quarterback in that draft, it sounds like.
Now, I don't know if I can say that the 2021 draft is going to be as bad as this, but I also think because of the fact that there's so much lackluster going into this draft, like they're going to hype up the quarterbacks just to get the fans involved, get them excited about this fucking draft with everything going on. And I don't know. I mean, I think I'll be more excited once I see him on the field, right? Start showing me something.
That's the problem, I think, with the draft, like trying to, look at this guy and how much this guy's worth and how much that guy's worth. It's like, well, they're not worth shit until they're on a team. And then once they're on a team, then you can kind of accurately, gauge who they're going to – because, like, Devontae Smith, I mean, he's probably number 1, number 2 wide receiver in the draft.
Okay.
But if he goes to the Jets, like, are we thinking that he's going to be a world beater? Probably not.
Well, I mean, name the last great wide receiver that team had was probably a top 15 wide receiver.
Well, does Brandon Marshall count?
I mean, if you want to go overall career, maybe
the only one that
he's
I really
not top 15, but.
Well, I mean, no, I meant like, I thought you meant like ever be a top 15 like in the league. At
one point he was, but I mean,
well, no. Then if we're saying top 15 like all time, no, right. I don't think there is a single Jet that is a top 15 player all time. I don't think so.
Not even Namath?
No.
Oh no,
he's not even the top 15 quarterback.
I know it.
I mean, he's probably the second best quarterback they've had.
I mean, we're looking at the Jets right now. Rashard Perriman, Denzel Mims, Jamison Crowder. Those are your 3 starting wide receivers.
I mean, I like Jamison Crowder. I think he's a very good athlete.
Right.
Mims was a rookie, so wasn't he a rookie or is he a second-year guy?
He's going into a second.
Okay, so we don't really know who he is. They had Joe Flacco throwing passes at the end of the season, so
He's
I
still
mean,
on there too.
well, yeah, I mean, he's a serviceable backup. He's a statue. He just can't move.
And then they drafted James Morgan last year. Don't remember where
But
he's
yeah,
from.
I think honestly, I think the only wide receiver I can think of. Well, what?
I was just talking about one of the quarterbacks they had. They drafted James Morgan last year.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, it seemed like you were frozen, and then all of a sudden you were talking, and I was like, what the hell? I don't know. I'm looking at like my rankings for the rookies coming in, and like after you get past the first three wide receivers, there's really no splash. I mean, maybe Rondell Moore from Purdue. He's kind of a, I don't know. He's intriguing to me, but I mean, most websites and most draft experts have him 10th or lower. So, and then even running back. I mean, you have the Najee Harris guy from Alabama, and you have Travis Etienne from Clemson, and then there's a couple other guys, and that's it. And then same thing with quarterback. You might have 6 quarterbacks that are nationwide names that everybody kind of knows,
Right.
and then after that, there's nothing. And so there's still 32 picks in the first round, and I don't know if there's 32 players that I have with first round grades.
I think the draft, I'm just going to look at the ticker every now and then and see what's going on. I don't think I'm going to be glued to my TV, beaten off watching this as it goes down, just because, I mean, I can turn on women's tennis and go in the other room and still get the same effect.
Oh, yeah. No, just turn the volume up.
Absolutely. Full blast. Honey, what is that? Don't worry about it.
Why are you all sweaty?
I was watching Cops.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I guess in the draft, though, I mean, we think Trevor Lawrence is going number 1.
Yep.
I mean, that's a given. But the next quarterback off the board, everybody seems so sure that it's Justin Fields, and I'm not sold on him.
Again, this goes into a whole NFL draft or QB draft class that doesn't excite me. Like, I think that they're going to be good fill-ins for wherever they go. And same thing with Justin Fields. Like, if he goes to, say, like Atlanta,
Which is where they're projecting him to go.
Right. If he goes to Atlanta, if Matt Ryan is still there, which I assume he's going to be, I can see Justin Fields getting some good training from him. If Matt Schaub is still there too, he's another good teacher that can help him. But I don't see him coming out and taking the job. I don't see him saying, sit down, Matty Ice, I got this. I just don't see it, right?
I'll be totally honest. I don't think Matt Ryan will be there next year.
Wow. Why is that?
Because I'm still thinking that San Francisco hates Jimmy Garoppolo. So that's where I think Matt Ryan, if Deshaun Watson doesn't happen, I think Matt Ryan will be the starting quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers next year.
You have this you hate Jimmy G for some reason, don't you?
I don't hate him. I mean, he's too pretty to be a quarterback, man. I mean, and then he lives in California. He makes a shit ton of money. Like any hot little piece of ass that's, out there, he's been rumored to be dating him, so.
He looks like a guy who wears a fucking beanie in the summer and drinks fucking kale smoothies on a regular.
So, like, to me, I guarantee he's the guy that when he goes out, he's like dressed to a T, but when he comes home, he wears fucking Crocs. So I guarantee. Right? He's probably got like 3 cats. He wears Crocs. And he smoked cigarettes with one of those holders.
Oh, with one of the fucking extenders on him or whatever?
Yeah.
No, you don't see him as like having like a pipe smoker, like a Sherlock Holmes pipe?
No, because that would make him cool.
Would it though?
What? Yeah. I think that's fucking awesome. If I had like a little like silk smoker's jacket with a pipe, and it was like a like one of the ones that was like swoop down, not straight,
Yes.
but like swoop down. Like it had like a little monocle. That's fucking awesome. Jimmy G's not that cool, but apparently he does get some hot ass. I mean, he's a pretty boy quarterback. I guess you kind of expect that.
You can't doubt the man or dog the man on that, man.
No. I'm not faulting him. It's probably more jealousy, but whatever.
Let that man slay some pussy, huh?
I mean, yeah, he apparently is laying some pipe out there in California. But yeah, I just feel like with the Kyle Shanahan connection and maybe wanting some redemption and putting Matt Ryan on a team where he doesn't have to do everything is probably a pretty big incentive, especially when Atlanta wants to. They probably want to move on. They want to get younger. I think they're drafting a quarterback at 4. I don't think that it's going to be Justin Fields. That's what everybody projects. I feel like the better quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons is Zach Wilson from BYU.
Wow.
And I think he's going to be the second quarterback off the board. He's not my favorite quarterback in this draft. Obviously, neither is Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields. I feel like Kyle Trask from Florida is the best quarterback in this draft. And I kind of still feel like you can get him in the second round, which saves you even more money.
I know he's been on your radar for a while.
Well, I like the way he throws the ball. I like the way he carries himself. And he went to Florida, which, they haven't been relevant since Tim Tebow, So, he didn't get national recognition, but the way the kid plays jumps off the page.
So looking at some mock drafts, just because we're on the subject or whatever, CBS has a bunch of their writers that have it out there. And I don't know why I keep referencing CBS, but it's just the first thing that pops up. So fucking deal with it. One of the writers, Ryan Wilson, has the Bengals trading up and switching spots with Miami and taking your boy Swell at the number 3 spot. Sewell, Swell, gold jacket, green jacket.
I know who you're talking about.
They've got Zach Wilson going number 2 to the Jets. They've got Justin Fields going 3 to Carolina, who trades with Atlanta. And then Jamar Chase, that's a name that we didn't hear about in 2020 because he chose to sit out, the wide receiver from LSU, who's
phenomenal, by the way.
Yes.
Like we saw what Jefferson did this past season, and Jamar Chase was better than him on the same team.
And they got him going to Miami with the number 5 pick. Other ones I'm looking at, I can already go ahead and just throw those mock drafts in the trash. Chris Trapezzo, if you're listening, which I doubt you are, you're an idiot. He's got.
Hold on, why is he an idiot?
Well, first off, he has the Texans getting the 3rd pick from Miami and taking Jamar Chase. So we already know that's
only happening if they trade Deshaun Watson.
But it's not going to happen.
I mean, definitely not to the fucking Dolphins.
No.
I mean, in all honesty, they were 10-6. They're pretty close. If you had a quarterback that, had a little bit more experience, maybe, I don't know. I don't see that happening at all. That's a fucking pipe dream.
And then at number 6 with Philadelphia, he's got Kyle Pitts going at tight end. You're a complete fucking moron, sir. I mean,
well, that one's not that bad.
It is.
Why?
They need so much more work than fucking tight end. They have no fucking wide receivers. They let Alshon Jeffrey go. They have no fucking. Well, they got Jalen Hurts. They got Miles Sanders in the backfield.
Sanders. I really like Miles Sanders.
Miles Sanders is great. They have
Dallas Goedert still there. Dallas Goedert is a very, very good.
So my point exactly. Why are you going to go ahead and get Kyle Pitts? Kyle Pitts, don't get me wrong, is the top tight end coming out of this draft class, but he doesn't go to Philadelphia. Chris Passo, whatever the fuck your name is, you're an idiot. You should be fired. Get the fuck off my screen.
So, okay, well then let's just play devil's advocate here. So Jacksonville takes Trevor Lawrence, so he's off the board. Let's say, okay, well in our world, we think the Jets are going to stay with Sam Darnold.
Yep.
So if the Jets stay with Sam Darnold, who are they drafting at number 2? A wide receiver?
I could see them going with Chase. I could see them going with the kid from Alabama, Heisman Trophy winner.
Oh, okay, Devontae Smith. Because I also have Jalen Waddle as the third wide receiver he's from Alabama also.
Again, as long as you've known me, I've said I'm a fan of Sam Darnold. I think he needs more help there. He needs weapons to get the ball moving, right? Now, granted, he also needs a fucking O-line too, but that's just about any team. You give him a wide receiver, you're actually going to get to see what Sam Darnold is about. All right.
I mean, he did have Robbie Anderson, but Robbie Anderson is not a world beater like some of these guys have been, touted as. So,
and I mean, Robbie Anderson did pretty well in Carolina this past season with Teddy Bridgewater. But again, like you're saying, he's not at the status that some of these kids that are coming out in this draft are.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And I honestly, I feel like if I'm the Jets and maybe I can trade back, like why not do that? Because wide receiver to me is kind of a finishing piece.
Mm-hmm.
And I think maybe you go a lot longer way either drafting offensive line at number 2, which is not sexy like we talked about.
Right.
But these other teams that are behind you, honestly, we can start at Atlanta. Atlanta, they're looking for a quarterback, right? The Eagles are not 100% sold on Jalen Hurts. So they might be in the market for a quarterback. That might be too high for them to try to reach for.
I agree.
Especially when you're at 6 and you might get Justin Fields to fall to you anyway. To me, Justin Fields and Jalen Hurts are fairly similar guys. The Lions, they got Jared Goff, but he's not who they originally drafted. So are they sold on him? I know they're going to be paying him a lot of money.
I think for what they gave up or what they received for Matt Stafford, I mean, I think they keep him around for a year. Do they get somebody behind them just in case thing? With that though, I think Jacoby Brissett goes over there, but that's a whole
pretty
other story.
Possibility. Yeah, I like that idea. But I mean, so that's the Lions. So the Panthers, they've already said they're all in to try to get Deshaun Watson. So they're not sold on Teddy Bridgewater.
Bro, Bridgewater must fucking hate that team. He fucking unfollowed them on Twitter, which apparently is now a big fucking deal when athletes do that shit.
Well, I mean, is it really that big a deal, or is it the media
could give a fuck
shit,
less
we got a
about
story,
right? But here we are talking about it.
Well, right. And then my thing is, if I unfollowed you on Twitter, would you even fucking know?
Oh, dude, you and I'm bringing back duels on that one. Fuck it, we're fucking fencing on that shit. Grab your fucking stick and we're fencing.
Do you fence with a stick, or did you say dick?
Whatever you choose, man. I'm gonna win one way or another.
Well, I mean, if we're talking about dicks, that doesn't sound like a challenge. That sounds like a Saturday night.
Can't put all our business out on the internet right now, dude.
Hey, you know what? I'm going for the gusto. We need some followers.
Oh my goodness. Speaking of that, if you are listening, if you like us, go ahead and follow us on Instagram and Twitter. You can also find us on YouTube. That's our quick plug.
What's our Instagram?
Our Instagram.
What's our Twitter?
2Wannabe.
At 2Wannabe?
At 2Wannabe is our Twitter, and 2Wannabe Athletes Talk Sports is our Instagram. You can find us under the same shit on YouTube. I don't know the proper fucking terms on this shit. If we never get the fucking streaming service up, we'll be on Twitch too.
Hell yeah.
So
you see these smiling mugs
on
Twitch.
That's all we're doing now is putting our fucking faces out there. And the 5 people that listen to this who don't know us are going to be like, God damn, just turn it off.
Look here, I promise that I will look better in the next one because I should be getting faded up again this week.
Like you cut, G.
Thank you. I guess after Carolina, I mean, I don't see the Broncos drafting a quarterback in the first round. I don't see the Cowboys drafting a quarterback, the Giants.
I don't know about the
Maybe
Broncos.
The 49ers. I'm there on the 49ers.
Here we go.
Well, I feel like that team is one fucking player away, man. I'm not a 49ers fan. I don't care for the gold and whatever fucking red color they have. I mean, when I was a kid, I liked watching Steve Young play. Jerry Rice obviously is the greatest wide receiver of all time. So there's that. But I don't know why I keep going back to San Francisco. I just feel like that team is on the verge, and Yeah, they were 6-10, but they were 6-10 with basically journeyman backup quarterbacks.
Well, their whole fucking team was either on their fucking deathbed or broken legs and ACL tears, and the fucking defense crumbled as soon as Nick Bosa went down.
Yeah, and I mean he's an integral piece. That's not the right word, but he's a big piece of that defense. That makes sense that you lose a leader like that.
Second year, he was coming out to probably be a top front runner for defensive player of the year.
I agree with you. I kind of feel like Aaron Donald is just the guy unless he dies.
Dude.
So, I mean, that's
a monster.
That guy's a fucking beast, and he's a pass rush threat from the inside. Like, when does that ever happen?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I'm just going through the draft order and looking at, the teams that have picks, and it's weird. The Dolphins were 10-6 last year, kind of quietly, with a carousel at quarterback because Tua just was not productive. They had old Fitzmagic making it happen. But they have 3 picks in the first round. Is that right?
2 picks.
2 picks. Just 2 picks. But regardless, they have number 3 and they have number 18.
Something like that.
At number 3, I think they're drafting wide receiver. That's for damn sure because they have Devontae Parker and Kenny Stills. Is that right?
Where?
In Miami. Who's their second guy?
Oh, fuck. Here we go again.
I know. We always do this.
Welcome to the podcast.
Yeah. So apparently there's a football thing. I think that at number 3, they're going to get either Devontae Smith or Jamar Chase, whoever's still available.
Yeah.
I think both of them will still be available.
They've got Devontae Parker, Preston Williams. Those were their top 2 starters. Mac Hollins behind them. Julian Davenport. No breakthrough standout names.
No, the
Davenport was their tackle. Never mind.
The only bright spot on their offense was Devontae Parker, who somehow was threatened to be cut before the season started, and then he turned out and he had a good year.
Yep.
I like the tight end Gesicki. I'm not sure if that's how you say
Mike Gesicki.
That guy's a great athlete. I like him a lot.
He's going on in his 4th year, and if he can get a good sync with the quarterback, I think the tight end role is undervalued by a lot of people, and I think a lot of people look at Travis Kelce and Zach Ertz and Darren Warren is that his name from the Raiders?
Darren Waller.
That Darren Waller even was underrated. You didn't really hear much from him, but he was one of the top tight ends of the past season. When you look
at that guy's size and his speed, how the fuck did they miss him?
Right. I think Gesicki is a name that we're going to keep hearing up there with like Hunter Henry and Travis Kelce and that. If he can get the sync down with the what?
Don't do that again. Hunter Henry is not in that conversation.
Why?
Because he fucking sucks. Well, he doesn't suck. He gets hurt all the time. So
all the time? Well, yeah, he did get hurt this past year.
He's missed. I think he's been in the league. This is coming up for his 5th or 6th season.
Mm-hmm.
I guess this is his 5th year because he's a free agent. So
came in the 2016 draft.
Yeah. So he's played his 4 years. Now he's a free agent. They're saying he might get franchise tagged by the Chargers, which
more than likely.
Well, that's a hell of a payday for him that he hasn't fucking earned. But
no.
I mean, I think there's 3 tight ends in the league that you talk about, and then there's everybody else.
But my whole point on it though is the tight end position is a very important position that people don't really give much credit to because they're the secret assassins that fall across the middle. They get you a 5-10 yard pickup here and there.
Well, that's just Jason Witten does that.
Jason Witten was plowing people after that too, though. In more ways than one.
That dude would catch his little 8-yard out, and then he would basically fall down when somebody touched him.
Right. Oh, I don't know where we were going on that tangent, but
Well,
yeah.
you're talking about tight ends just being a pretty good part of an offense that, but I feel like they're yeah, I mean, I don't know if they're underrated, but they are definitely a quarterback's best friend.
Yeah.
Right. If I'm a quarterback, the first thing that I want to have is a stout running game. Because if I have a good running game, then I have a good offensive line. And the next thing that I want is a tight end, because I know if I have a good tight end that can find the soft spots in the zone or can beat, one-on-one coverage with an inside linebacker, or, maybe even an outside linebacker or a strong safety, then I want that guy on my team, because I know 3rd and 4, I've got an outlet. No matter where we are in the field, if he can beat one-on-one coverage or he can find a soft spot in the zone, we got a first down. And we're moving the chains and we're going. So I think you're right. And I think that's why we might see 2 tight ends drafted in the first round this year.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, I think Kyle Pitts goes first. And the kid from Penn State, the Pat Fryermuth guy, have you seen him on tape?
I have not.
He's a freak athlete. And so I feel like people are towards the end of the draft or the end of the first round, they're going to be looking to pick him up. So don't be surprised. I'm calling it here. 2 tight ends in the first round.
I'm very eager to see if that happens.
I don't know if you can bet on it, but don't tweet at me if you fucking lose. I don't hear it.
Well, that's going to put an end to this episode. We'll pick back up next time, continue on with the draft, continue on with free agency, continue on with whatever new news comes up.
Yeah, hopefully there's some new quarterback news or some new trades. I mean, with the season starting today with the cap, and then March 17th quickly approaching where they're going to start the new year. Dude, I'm so excited.
Well, in other news too, we got spring training coming up, so we get to start seeing what's going on in Major League Baseball, and we can go ahead and start talking about that.
That's true. A lot of shakeup in the offseason for baseball,
right?
North of the border.
Nothing big in NBA news for us to really talk about because of the fact, I mean, you have your dominating teams with the Lakers and the Nets are slowly coming up, but there's there's nothing been real exciting about NBA this year. So those y'all who have joined in on us and thinking that we're going to talk about NBA, we do watch NBA. It's not been very fun. There's not been.
I mean, okay, so full disclosure about basketball. When do you watch college basketball?
March. The bracket, right?
That's it. And the only reason why we watch is because we have a bracket. That's it.
Well, money's involved. I'm going to watch it. So.
Exactly. So, and then in the NBA, when do you watch the NBA?
Playoffs.
Yeah. That's it. I don't give a shit what happens for the 82 games or the 68 games or whatever LeBron James said they could play. I don't remember. I don't care about those games.
I agree.
And I mean, there's 32 teams in the league and 16 teams make the playoffs. So if you're not one of those 16 teams, I'm not watching you anyway. And then in the playoffs or in NBA, it's hard to bet on single games.
Yeah.
So I just bet on series. And the only time I'm going to actually get a good value on a series is in the playoffs. So I don't give a shit.
I would rather bathe in hot dog water than bet on regular season basketball.
I would almost rather just have to watch a WNBA game from tip off to buzzer.
Oh my God!
Have to pick winners in NBA.
Oh. On that note, I'm going to go throw up.
Well, yeah, sorry. I didn't mean to take another jab at the WNBA, but that sport's just unwatchable.
We'll be hearing from, I don't know, somebody.
Yeah, I mean,
anyways,
have a player rep or anybody? Who cares?
Those of y'all who listen, we appreciate you listening again. If you like what we're doing, go ahead and like, comment, and share what we're doing. Give us some feedback. We want to know what's going on, right? We're doing this not only for us, but we want to do it for y'all as well. If there's something you want to listen to other than us talk about football or something, I'll talk to you about fucking cheese rolling. I don't give a fuck.
Hey, I love that, by the way.
I love cheese,
Well, there's a cheese rolling event. I guess it happens in England or I don't know, over there. And
fuck it, we'll cover it when that comes on.
Are nuts. It's on Home Game, I think. If you watch Home Game, they have cheese rolling. It's pretty crazy.
So again, y'all, thank you for listening. Don't forget to follow us on our social media accounts, which I mentioned before. This is Two Wannabe Athletes Talk Sports. I'm Ed.
I'm Zach.
And we will see you on the next go round.